Hi, friends. Welcome to Social Studies with Miss Shin. Let's start by going over our learning intentions. Today, we are learning to use research skills to gather, share, and analyze information so that we can identify individuals who have made contributions to their communities. You will be successful when we can use research skills to learn about events and people from communities. So, the vocabulary word that I would like to go over with you today is historian. A historian is a person who studies history. So, at this point, you may be asking yourself, why is it important to study history? Well, let's listen to this video to find out.
Why study history? What's the point? How does learning about the past affect my life right now? Well, my friends, those are all excellent questions which millions of people around the world have asked at some point in their lives. The answer might be surprising, because in the end, the answer is always you. Let's start with an important distinction. The past refers to everything that's happened up until this moment. History is a record of past events. When we study the past, we examine pictures, letters, videos, legal documents, and much more, which give us glimpses into other time periods. But why study history at all, you're wondering? What does it all have to do with me? George Santayana said, "Those who do not remember the past are condemned to repeat it." It's a powerful lesson. That's not the full story. See, humans are creatures of habit who have a tendency of making the same mistake over and over again. Think about it. How many times have you promised yourself you'd get your work done well before the deadline, yet find yourself working furiously the day before it's due? Each time you tell yourself that next time you'll do things differently, yet you never quite learn the lesson. Alright, so maybe it's hard for humans to learn from their mistakes. So why study history? It can be said that we learn about history in order to understand how to become a change champion, someone who finds a way to break the pattern and create change in their community. History is full of inspirational leaders who teach us about standing up for our beliefs. But that's still not the whole story. History doesn't involve simply learning about the big mistakes or the change champions. History is filled with larger than life characters who take on a starring role in history books. These people use their power, good or evil, to create change, but they are nothing without the ordinary people who support them. You see, history is so much more than wars and empires and famous buildings. It's about his story and her story and their story. We study history to learn about how the deeds of ordinary people shaped the lives of other ordinary people, and how their lives were affected by other ordinary people, and so on. When we study the past, we are studying the decisions and daily lives of individual people whose actions contributed to what we call history. That's where you come in. Every action you make and every word you speak becomes part of something bigger than you can possibly imagine. We learn about history because it's his story and her story, their story, and your story. So why study history? Look around. You're in the middle of creating it right now. Study the past so that the history you're writing today is something worth learning about tomorrow.
Okay, friends. So, at the beginning of the video, I asked, why study history? After seeing the video, can you think of a reason why we might study history? Yeah, two things stuck out to me. The first thing was that the actions of everyday ordinary people can make big changes. Also, the second thing that really stuck out to me is that we study history so we can become champions of change. Change champions. Okay, friends, now that we have learned why we should study history, let's talk about how we should begin to study history. And we do that by conducting research. So, what is research? Yeah, research is the process of investigating to find answers to questions about certain topics. So now I'm going to ask, what does the research process look like? Hmm. So, The very first thing in the research process is to begin with the topic you would like to learn more about. After that, you'll think of a question you would like to answer about that topic. The third thing you'll do is find resources to help answer the questions you have. Finally, you will write, in your own words, the answers you found to your questions and any other interesting information you learned about your topic. So, resources for research. What type of resources should we be looking for? Well, in our first column, we have a list of print resources. Those could those could include things like encyclopedias or dictionaries or atlases or nonfiction books or photographs. Okay, anything that's in print that you can touch. Um, the next column, we have technology resources. Some of those things could be websites, television programs, online encyclopedias, dictionaries, and other resources. Finally, we can also use community resources. Some community resources that we can use are interviews, surveys, and written information. Okay, you could write letters to people in your community, or maybe send them a letter requesting a letter back, or maybe they have a journal and they would let you read it. So, those are some of the things that you can use for your research. All right, friends, today you all get to be historians. Okay, so I bet you're asking yourself, what are you going to be researching? You are going to be researching African Americans who have made a significant contribution to our history. These are going to be your choices. We have Bessie Coleman, who is a pilot, George Washington Carver, who is a scientist slash inventor, Dr. Mae Jemison, who is an astronaut, Martin Luther King Jr., who is a civil rights leader, Maya Angelou, a poet, Langston Hughes, a poet, Madam C.J. Walker, who was an entrepreneur. That means she started her own business. And finally, Thurgood Marshall, who was a Supreme Court justice. All right, friends, let's review our learning intentions. Today, we are learning to use research skills to gather, share, and analyze information so that we can identify individuals who have made contributions to their communities. We will be successful when we can use research skills to learn about events and people from our communities. All right, friends. In your seesaw lesson today, you are going to choose one of those individuals that interest you and that you would like to learn more about. Okay, just one individual. And then on your assignment, you are going to explain why, or you're going to tell your teacher what individual you want to research, why that individual interests you, and you're going to think of one question that you have for that, um, for your person that you picked. All right, friends, that's it for today. Thanks for doing social studies with me.